Since my recent video on Koumei, a lot of you people have asked for a small guide type deal. And to be honest, I am not making a full guide of this Warframe when the video itself guides you on most of the stuff that Koumei needs to be aware of. Dice rolls, how her abilities work, and which abilities to cast when. So I'm simply not gonna go over that again. Instead, I'm gonna go to some of the more interesting mechanics of Koumei as a Warframe. This video is gonna be divided into two parts, survivability and damage. Let's start with survivability. Understanding Koumei's tree is important on how you need to play. Just like other Warframes have their defensive ability that slowly runs out, Koumei also has this, but it's a bit more interesting since it also heals you. So how do you use it? Simple. When an enemy attacks Koumei when she is full HP, she gets shielded. This means we need to make sure when the timer of your 3 runs out, you need to be even on the slightest amount of shield or within iframes. And depending on your strength, this can account to a huge shield, which in turn will make it so that when the shields run out, Koumei will get iframes. So to survive with Koumei very easily, do this. Equip adaptation in order for all that extra shield to tank more reliably since adaptation works on shields, and equip rolling guard so you can get more iframes for your shield to come back up. Now your options to make it easier for those shields to come back up are two. Either go for 1 to 2 Ogre modes, or simply equip shield recharge modes. Shield recharge modes are way better for a survivability focused build, while Ogre modes are more useful for a more aggressive build. Because most enemies in the game fire either one shot at a time or a small burst of shots before pausing and repeating that small burst, you need to set priority targets to kill first for your third ability's timer to become easier to manage. These would be heavy gunners, corpus techs, and SOC Eximus units. Other Eximus units don't fare too as much as they only do one hit at a time, and for the Jade Light Eximus you can simply shoot the beam or run away from it. Doing these things correctly will guarantee you a very chill experience while playing Koumei, and you will go down way less. Now for damage. As mentioned on the original video, your 1 should be replaced as it is too inconsistent. There are some options you can go, but by far the best one for Koumei is Roar. Sickening Pulse is something a lot of people have experimented with, but it's not as consistent simply because Koumei's 4 can proc the same element multiple times. So if your 4 procs 6 electricity procs, Roar is gonna be a massive increase of damage compared to Sickening Pulse. Koumei also thrives at buffing guns by giving them a lot of damage types and damage over time, which also benefits Roar massively. It's simply no question to me that this is the best subsume. But gun buffing is not for everyone, so if you want to chill and nuke with your 4th ability, go for this build. Mecha Set is an insane combo for Koumei and will make it so that your 4th ability will one-shot any room you walk into or any room you might be protecting. The moment the marked target from the Mecha Set dies, every other enemy pretty much explodes from the amount of status procs and Roar. With this build, guns don't really matter. You can just run around and cast your 4 and roar onto every room and one-shot it. For those that want to get the fantasy setup of Koumei, you should instead follow a gun buff build. Although not as different as the previous build, it vastly changes in playstyle. 4th ability is now used as a defensive tool, for whenever Koumei's shields run out in order to crowd control the room and get her shields back up, or to abuse better dice rolls like her 2nd and 3rd ability from Pseudo RNG. For more insight on Pseudo RNG, you should check the video in the description below. However, in practice, you just need to know that if you get either 2 or even better 3 rolls below 18, then you should always cast your 2nd or 3rd ability, as there is a much better likelihood to get a roll that is above 20 or even a 666. The decrees on the other hand have some interesting interactions. Most of Koumei's decrees count as abilities and therefore benefit from ability damage from Archons. Now, there are certain decrees that are obviously stronger than others, but the most broken and the most OP decree by far is Fault Finder. This decree is adding melee influence to your ranged weapons, but even better. Instead of chaining to other enemies, it leaves an area around the target killed that lingers for a long period of time and deals constant damage while leaving an electric proc on the targets that walk over the area. This effect only triggers when weak points of enemies are hit. That means either headshots or the small canisters on the hands of Culverine enemies. Anything that can charge your encounter meter on your gun is considered a weak point and will proc Fault Finder. Because Fault Finder is considered an ability, Violet Archon Swords for extra electricity damage will work on it normally. However, for some reason, they also double dip on the damage that Fault Finder deals. Although this is a decree and you won't get it in every mission, I still think 3 Tau Forge Violet Archon Shards for extra electricity damage are the way to go. At the end of the day, if you don't get that decree, there are other decrees that deal electricity damage, and your force total damage will increase on a target as long as it triggered 1 electricity proc onto said target. This leaves my Koumei with the following shards: 1 Tau Forge Emerald for extra corrosive stacks, 1 Tau Forge Amber for starting energy, because you can never run out of energy as long as you have enough to keep casting your 4 to trigger the Archon modes in our build. And finally, 3 Tau Forged Violet Shards for extra damage to abilities on enemies affected by electricity. Koumei has 45 different decrees where 10 of them are good, 5 of them are useless, and 30 of them are really strong. With this in mind, you can take any weapon and have fun with Koumei, and you're really not limited by anything. You can choose explosive weapons to get infinite ammo on them with crazy fire rate. You can choose a hard-hitting weapon to trigger Fault Finder and get over 200 kills per minute. You can choose a melee for slam attacks and benefit from the slam focused and the melee focused decrees. Or you can pick a melee weapon that abused melee influence. Or you can even pick a melee weapon that abuses heavy attacks. Or you can even try something with finisher attacks paired with a subsume that opens enemies to finishers. It really doesn't matter. With Koumei, you can pick whatever you have fun with. But in order to get the decrees with Koumei, you will need to complete challenges. For any challenges that have to do with killing enemies affected by elements, either shoot the weapon that has the element, shoot with a full auto weapon affected by your passive, or simply cast 4 and get the kills from there. For the wall latch channel, which most people are annoyed by, you can either equip an AoE weapon, but even without it, you can cast your 4 while maintaining wall latch, and also you can wall jump and then wall latch again to reset your wall latch timer. Doing this makes this challenge the easiest one by far. The hardest one for me is the headshot challenge. Not only are headshot kills sometimes inconsistent depending on the enemies you fight, I'm looking at you, infested and murmur enemies, but you also get decrees that let your non-AoE weapons deal AoE damage, like Fault Finder does, and that kills the other enemies that you could potentially headshot. For this one, the best thing you can do is get on a flat hallway and aim high towards the direction of the enemies. That is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this mini guide in order to maximize your efficiency when playing Koumei. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.